What happens when a global superstar walks onto a daytime talk show expecting a thoughtful conversation, and instead feels boxed into an assumption she never agreed to? Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks, and like and comment for more talk show coverage. Whoopi leans back in her chair as the applause dies down, palms open in that familiar way. All right, so Priyanka Chopra Jonas is here. Actor, producer, philanthropist, global icon. Welcome. Priyanka smiles, nodding to the audience, hands together for a brief namaste before she settles into her seat. Thank you. It's good to be here. Joy jumps in quickly, almost over the applause. You look incredible. Every time you're on our screens, it's like. Sunny laughs. She's glowing. Priyanka chuckles politely. That's very kind. Thank you. Whoopi glances down at her card, then back up. So you've been everywhere lately. New projects, activism, speaking out on women's issues, especially internationally. And a lot of people see you as, how do I put this, the voice for women from your part of the world. There's a small pause. Not awkward yet, but noticeable. Priyanka's smile tightens just a fraction. Whoopi continues, not sensing it. Representing Indian women, brown women, immigrant women, carrying that responsibility. That's a lot. The audience murmurs, a few nods, a few uncertain sounds. Priyanka inhales, still calm. I think, before we go there, it's important to clarify something. Sunny tilts her head. Okay. Priyanka keeps her tone measured. I don't see myself as a spokesperson for a billion people. Joy interjects lightly, trying to soften it. I don't think Whoopi meant. Priyanka raises her hand gently, still smiling but firmer now. No, I know what she meant. And I get why it's said. But that assumption is exactly what I've been trying to push back on for years. The audience quiets. Whoopi leans forward. Hold on. I'm not putting that on you. I'm saying people look at you that way. But that's the problem, Priyanka replies, her voice steady. When one person from a massive, diverse culture steps into a global space, suddenly she's expected to explain, defend, or represent everyone. Sunny nods slowly. That's fair. Whoopi lifts her eyebrows. But you do talk about it. You do advocate. Yes, Priyanka says, for causes I care about. As myself. Not as a symbol someone else assigns to me. There's a ripple of applause, tentative but growing. Joy shifts in her seat. Isn't that part of visibility, though? I mean, whether you like it or not. Priyanka turns to Joy, still controlled. Visibility doesn't mean permission to be generalized. Audience applause gets louder this time. Whoopi chuckles, but there's an edge. All right, but when you say things like Hollywood stereotypes or Western perceptions of India, people are going to ask you about it. And they should, Priyanka replies. Ask me. Don't define me before I answer. A brief silence. Whoopi presses her lips together, nodding slowly. Sunny jumps in. So when you hear that framing, the voice of, what does it feel like? Priyanka exhales. It feels limiting. And honestly, it feels lazy. A few audience members gasp softly. Others clap. Whoopi's head snaps up. Lazy. Yes, Priyanka says, not backing down. Because it's easier to package one person than to acknowledge complexity. Joy laughs nervously. Oh boy. Whoopi leans back again, crossing her arms. I gotta push back a little. You're sitting on a show that debates issues every day. We simplify to start conversations. And I respect that, Priyanka replies quickly. But simplification becomes assumption when you don't leave room for correction. The tension is now visible. The camera would absolutely be cutting between faces if this were live. Sunny glances at Whoopi. I think what she's saying is. Whoopi cuts in. No, I hear what she's saying. I just don't fully agree. Audience murmurs again. Whoopi continues. When you become that successful globally, people project. That's not always malicious. I never said it was, Priyanka responds. But intent doesn't erase impact. A louder round of applause breaks out. Whoopi waits it out, tapping her card against the table. Joy leans toward Priyanka. Have you felt this more in American media than elsewhere? Priyanka nods immediately. Yes, because there's a habit here of needing categories. Sunny snaps her fingers lightly. That's true. Priyanka continues, warming up now. I'm either the Indian actress, the immigrant success story, or the activist. I'm rarely just an actor doing her job. Whoopi looks directly at her. But doesn't your background inform your work? Of course it does, Priyanka says. So does yours. But no one asks you to speak for every black woman in America every time you open your mouth. The studio goes dead silent for half a second. Then, "Oh," from the audience, followed by scattered applause that quickly swells. Whoopi's expression hardens slightly. "Now wait a minute." Priyanka doesn't flinch. "I'm not attacking you. I'm pointing out a double standard." Sunny looks between them. "This is an important conversation." Whoopi uncrosses her arms. "I've been asked to represent plenty of people." "And you've also pushed back," Priyanka replies. "That's all I'm doing." Joy nods slowly. "That's true. Whoopi's done that." Whoopi exhales, then lets out a small laugh. "All right. Fair." The tension eases just a notch, but it's still there, humming under the table. Whoopi adds, "I just don't want it to sound like we're putting something on you that." "Then don't assume it," Priyanka says, finally sharper. "Ask me first." The audience breaks into full applause, some people standing briefly before sitting back down. Whoopi looks at her for a long beat, then nods. "Okay, that's fair." Sunny smiles. "I love when the conversation goes here." Joy chuckles. "We're not even 5 minutes in." Priyanka smiles again, but it's different now, less polite, more resolute. "This is why I came." The camera would fade to commercial here, the table still buzzing, everyone aware that something real has just shifted, and that this conversation is far from over. The applause fades, but the energy doesn't. You can feel it sitting heavy in the studio, like everyone knows the conversation crossed into something unscripted. Whoopi clears her throat, glancing briefly toward the producer's table off camera, then back to Priyanka. "All right," Whoopi says, measured. "We're still here. Let's stay right there." Priyanka nods. "Sure." Sunny leans forward, elbows on the table. "I actually want to unpack this a bit more, because I think what you're saying resonates with a lot of people who get put into boxes." Joy raises an eyebrow. "Including actors on this panel." A small laugh ripples through the audience, easing the tension just enough. Priyanka turns to Sunny. "It's not just about fame. It's about how narratives are built. When someone like me walks into a Western space, the story is already half written." Whoopi tilts her head. "But don't you get to rewrite it?" "Only if I'm allowed to finish my sentence," Priyanka replies calmly. There's a beat. Joy lets out a short laugh. "Touché." Audience applause again, shorter this time but supportive. Whoopi nods slowly. Okay. I hear that. But let me ask you this, because people watching might be thinking it. When you talk about issues back home, politics, social norms, doesn't that open the door to these assumptions? Priyanka doesn't answer immediately. She looks thoughtful, not defensive. "It opens the door to conversation," she says finally. "Not to ownership." Sunny snaps her fingers again. "That's a good distinction." Priyanka continues, her voice steady. "I can talk about child education or women's safety without being asked to summarize an entire nation's culture." Whoopi interjects, "But media's messy. You know that." "I do," Priyanka says. "I've been in it since I was a teenager. That's why I'm careful about how questions are framed." Joy leans back. "So when someone introduces you as a voice for, that already puts you on defense." "Yes," Priyanka says immediately. "Because now I'm correcting instead of connecting." The audience hums in agreement. Whoopi exhales. "All right, that's fair criticism." Sunny glances at Whoopi, then back at Priyanka. "Have you ever felt pressure to lean into that role because it's marketable?" Priyanka smiles wryly. "Absolutely." Joy perks up. "There it is." Priyanka laughs softly. "Let's be honest. There's a version of me that's easier to digest. Exotic but safe. Opinionated but grateful." A low murmur spreads through the crowd. Priyanka continues. "And when I step outside that, suddenly I'm difficult or too intense." Whoopi nods slowly. "Now that part, I understand." Sunny says, "Women get that label fast." Joy adds, "Especially women of color." Priyanka looks directly at Whoopi again. "Which is why moments like this matter." Whoopi meets her gaze. "So you're saying call you in, not call you out?" "Yes," Priyanka replies. "And don't assume I volunteered for a role I never auditioned for." The audience laughs, claps. Whoopi cracks a smile despite herself. "That was good." Joy points at Priyanka. "That was a good line." Priyanka smiles briefly, then grows serious again. "But it's not just a line. It affects how stories get told. How opportunities come, or don't." Sunny nods. "Can you give an example?" Priyanka hesitates, then decides. "I've been offered roles where my character exists only to explain her culture to a white lead." Audience reacts audibly, some groans, some laughs of recognition. Whoopi raises her eyebrows. Still, Priyanka says. in 2025. Joy shakes her head. That's wild. And when I say no, Priyanka continues, the response is often, but isn't this important representation? Sunny sighs. Weaponized representation. Yes, Priyanka says, pointing at Sunny. Exactly. Whoopi leans forward again. Let me ask you something then. When we started this conversation, did you feel like I was doing that? There it is. The room goes quiet again. Priyanka takes a breath. I think you were unintentionally stepping into that space. Whoopi nods. Unintentionally. That matters to me. It matters to me too, Priyanka replies. Which is why I addressed it calmly. Joy jumps in quickly. And respectfully. Priyanka smiles slightly. Thank you. Whoopi looks out at the audience. This is why we have these conversations. Because you don't know what you don't know. Applause. Sunny adds. And because live TV doesn't give you time to script the perfect response. Joy laughs. Ain't that the truth? Priyanka relaxes a bit in her chair, but she's still engaged. I don't expect perfection. I expect openness. Whoopi nods. You got that. There's a pause where it seems like the moment might settle, but Whoopi isn't done. However, Whoopi says carefully, I don't want people to think you're rejecting the community that looks up to you. Priyanka's expression shifts again, sharper now. That's another assumption. A few audience members clap immediately. Priyanka continues, I can care deeply without being claimed. Sunny murmurs, that's powerful. Joy looks between them. But fans do project. That's unavoidable. Projection is human, Priyanka agrees. Expectation is optional. Whoopi lets out a low chuckle. You're good at this. Priyanka smiles. I've had practice. The audience laughs. Whoopi grows serious again. So what's the right way to introduce you? Priyanka answers without hesitation. As Priyanka Chopra. An actor. A producer. A person with opinions. Sunny claps softly. Simple. Joy shrugs. We can do that. Whoopi nods. We'll do that. There's applause again, warmer now, but the undercurrent of tension hasn't fully disappeared. Sunny glances at the clock. We're almost out of time for this block. Joy groans. Already. Priyanka laughs softly. See? Always cut short. Whoopi smiles, but there's something thoughtful behind it. We'll continue this. Priyanka looks at her. I hope so. The audience applauds as the music starts to swell for the break, cameras pulling back slightly. Whoopi gives Priyanka a nod, not performative, but genuine. Priyanka nods back. And as they head into commercial, it's clear. This isn't resolved. It's just getting deeper. When they come back from commercial, the applause is louder than before, like the audience has been waiting to release something. Whoopi claps along once, then lifts a hand to settle everyone down. All right, she says. We're back with Priyanka Chopra Jonas. Priyanka smiles politely, but there's a seriousness in her posture now. She's sitting straighter, hands folded, ready. Sunny jumps in immediately. I just want to say, during the break, people were still talking about what you said. Priyanka nods. I figured. Joy laughs. In a good way. Mostly. The audience chuckles. Whoopi looks directly at Priyanka. I want to circle back to something you said before the break. About being asked to explain your culture and roles. Sure, Priyanka replies. Whoopi tilts her head. Do you think that's changing at all? Or are we just talking about it more? Priyanka considers the question carefully. I think we're talking about it more, she says slowly. But change is slower than the conversation. Sunny nods. That's honest. Priyanka continues, warming into it again. There's progress, but it's uneven. One step forward, two polite excuses back. Joy smirks. Polite excuses are the worst. Audience laughter. Priyanka smiles briefly, then grows serious. Because they sound reasonable. We're just trying to educate audiences. We're not ready yet. Maybe next project. Whoopi exhales. I've heard all of that. And that's why I push back in moments like this, Priyanka says, gesturing lightly around the table. If I don't, the framing sticks. Sunny leans in. Do you ever worry about backlash when you push back? Priyanka answers without missing a beat. I expect it. The audience murmurs. Priyanka adds, especially from people who think discomfort equals disrespect. Whoopi raises an eyebrow. Say that again. Discomfort is not disrespect, Priyanka repeats. Sometimes it's just growth. Applause breaks out, louder this time. Joy claps. Okay, that one's going on a mug. Priyanka laughs softly. Whoopi lets the applause die down, then speaks more deliberately. I want to be transparent here. When you corrected me earlier, part of me bristled. The audience reacts, soft gasps, curious murmurs. Whoopi continues, not because you were wrong, but because nobody likes being checked on live TV. Priyanka nods. I understand that. Sunny watches closely. This is real. Whoopi looks back at Priyanka. But I also realized I've built a career on checking people. Laughter and applause from the audience. So, Whoopi adds, it'd be hypocritical of me not to sit with it. Priyanka's expression softens slightly. I appreciate you saying that. Joy jumps in. That doesn't happen often enough on television. Priyanka nods. It doesn't. Sunny asks, do you feel like you're often expected to soften your responses to be palatable? Priyanka sighs quietly. All the time. Joy groans in solidarity. Yep. Priyanka continues. If I speak firmly, I'm labeled angry. If I speak gently, I'm told I didn't go far enough. Whoopi nods slowly. That tightrope is real. And it's exhausting, Priyanka adds. Especially when the assumption is that I owe people comfort. The audience applauds again. Whoopi looks out toward the crowd. How many of y'all felt that? Hands go up. The applause grows. Priyanka smiles at the reaction. That's why this matters beyond me. Sunny glances at Whoopi. I think viewers at home are seeing themselves in this. Whoopi turns back to Priyanka. Let me ask you something a little uncomfortable. Priyanka smiles faintly. Go ahead. Whoopi pauses. Do you think sometimes we, especially progressive spaces, use representation as a shield? The audience quiets, sensing the weight of the question. Priyanka nods slowly. Yes. Joy leans forward. Explain that. Priyanka takes a breath. Having someone like me on a panel or in a cast can become proof of progress, even if the structure underneath hasn't changed. Sunny snaps her fingers. Tokenism dressed up as inclusion. Exactly, Priyanka says. And when that token speaks up, suddenly she's ungrateful. Whoopi lets out a low mm. Joy shakes her head. That's uncomfortable to hear. It should be, Priyanka replies calmly. A wave of applause follows. Whoopi looks thoughtful. So when you say don't assume, you're not just talking about identity. You're talking about intention. Yes, Priyanka says. Assume I'm capable of complexity. Sunny smiles. That's a good way to put it. Joy chuckles. We don't give anyone that grace. Priyanka laughs lightly. Not consistently. Whoopi leans back. I want to ask about something else. Social media. The audience reacts immediately with groans and laughter. Whoopi smiles. Yeah, I know. But it matters. Priyanka nods. It does. Whoopi asks, when moments like this happen, how quickly do you feel the judgment online? Priyanka exhales. Before the segment ends. Laughter, but it's knowing. Priyanka continues. Clips get taken out of context. Headlines get written before conversations finish. Sunny adds, nuance doesn't trend. No, Priyanka agrees. Outrage does. Whoopi looks serious. And you still show up. Yes, Priyanka says. Because silence gets edited too. The audience applauds again, this time more sustained. Joy glances at the clock. We're running short again. Whoopi nods. But I want to end this block with something clear. She turns to Priyanka. I hear you. Priyanka looks at her, searching for sincerity. She finds it. Thank you, Priyanka says quietly. Whoopi adds, and I don't assume you speak for anyone but yourself. The audience claps loudly. Sunny smiles. That's growth in real time. Joy laughs. Live TV therapy. Priyanka chuckles. I'll send the bill. Laughter fills the studio. But even as the laughter fades, there's a sense that something unresolved still lingers. Questions the audience hasn't heard answered yet, reactions waiting to happen beyond the studio walls. Whoopi gestures toward the camera. When we come back, we're going to talk about what happened after this conversation. And trust me, there was a lot. The audience buzzes with anticipation as the music swells again, cameras pulling back, the energy charged and unfinished, exactly the way real talk show moments always are. When the show returns for the final segment, the applause feels different, less polite, more charged, like the audience has already chosen a side but is still listening. Whoopi waits it out longer this time, letting it crest and fall before speaking. All right, she says. We promised to talk about what happened after that conversation. Priyanka nods, composed but alert. I'm curious how you want to frame it. Whoopi gives a small smile. See, she's still checking us. Laughter from the audience. Sunny jumps in. During the break, our producers were already showing us clips popping up online. Joy groans. Already. Sunny nods. Already. Priyanka exhales through a smile. That sounds about right. Whoopi looks at her. Trending topics. Your name. My name. The phrase don't assume. The audience reacts with murmurs and scattered applause. Whoopi continues. Some people applauding you. Some people saying you were disrespectful. Priyanka doesn't look surprised. Of course. Joy leans forward. Did you expect the pushback? I expect it every time I speak clearly, Priyanka replies. Especially when it interrupts a comfortable narrative. Sunny nods. People don't like being told they're wrong. Or incomplete, Priyanka adds. Whoopi looks thoughtful. I saw comments saying you came for me. Priyanka turns to her. I didn't come for you. I came for the assumption. The audience applauds again. Whoopi nods slowly. That distinction got lost online. Joy shrugs. Nuance died years ago. Laughter. Sunny says, there were also a lot of people thanking you. Priyanka smiles softly. Those are the messages I hold on to. Whoopi asks, what do they say? Priyanka pauses, choosing her words. They say, I felt seen. Or, I wish I could say that at my job. Or, thank you for not shrinking. The audience grows quiet, attentive. Priyanka continues. That's why moments like this matter more than viral clips. Sunny murmurs. That's powerful. Joy nods. That's real. Whoopi leans in. I want to say something directly. Priyanka looks at her. Whoopi says, I don't regret the conversation. And I don't regret being challenged. The audience applauds loudly. Whoopi adds, but I do regret how often we all default to shortcuts. Priyanka smiles. That means a lot. Sunny turns to Priyanka. Did you worry, even a little, that speaking up here might cost you? Priyanka answers honestly. Yes. A ripple moves through the crowd. But, Priyanka continues, I worried more about what it would cost me if I didn't. Applause breaks out again, sustained. Joy claps. That's the line of the day. Whoopi laughs. You've had a few. Priyanka laughs with them, then grows serious. I don't want to be brave for bravery's sake. I just want to be accurate. Sunny nods. That's a good way to put it. Whoopi looks toward the audience. You've been with us through all of this. The audience applauds. Whoopi turns back to Priyanka. Is there anything you wish you'd said differently? Priyanka considers it. No. I wish it didn't need saying so often. A murmur of agreement moves through the room. Joy sighs. That part hits. Sunny adds, this is what real conversations look like. Whoopi nods. Messy. Uncomfortable. Honest. Priyanka smiles. And unfinished. Whoopi chuckles. Always unfinished. As the final seconds tick down, Whoopi addresses the camera directly. We know a lot of you at home have opinions about this. Priyanka looks into the camera too. And you should. Sunny smiles. Tell us what you thought. Joy adds, did this conversation resonate with you, or did it challenge you? Whoopi concludes, either way, that's the point. Priyanka gives a small nod. Just don't assume. The audience erupts into applause, some standing, others clapping above their heads. As the music swells and the credits begin to roll, the camera catches Whoopi and Priyanka exchanging a brief, genuine handshake. No performance, no tension, just mutual recognition. By the time the episode ends, clips are already circulating online. Hashtags split opinions. Comment sections argue, agree, push back, and reflect. Some call it uncomfortable. Others call it necessary. Most call it real. And that's where it lands, with a conversation that didn't wrap itself in a bow, but left people thinking, talking, and choosing where they stand. If you've got thoughts about this moment, share your opinion in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories.